Hi, I'm Ted from Minimalist Warhammer, and today we have a very special treat. We managed to get the Daniel Mendenhall from Minimalist Warhammer here into our studio today. Dan, would you like to come up and introduce yourself? We're all here today to ask one very important question, and that is, how does a man such as yourself, with such a large portfolio, business portfolio, film credits, the works, how do you afford Warhammer?
All right. This is a big question, right? It's a question I think everybody wants to hear.
I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, I mean, where do we start? How far back we want to go?
What is your earliest memory of Warhammer 40,000?
So it goes back, high school. Stop me at any time if you want to ask any more questions. But go back to high school, and I think no, it's like middle school and high school, something like that. So I was playing this stupid game, Mage Knight, back in the day. I don't even know if it's still around, but it's like HeroClix, but not. I guess Marvel didn't quite sign on to HeroClix yet. So a little clicky bases thing, right? Mage Knight. And then I got this three-headed dragon, and my best friend at the time, Nick, saw me pull this out of the pack, and that was the end of that. It was an OP dragon, and then I won every game based off of that. Then it was like, all right. So then I went to a comic store at the mall. The Granite Run Mall is totally dead at this point, but back in the day when it was still around, went to the mall, really great store, went over to a table, and I saw these crazy looking minis. It looked real dark and moody, and everybody, these guys like painting them up and whatnot. And I was like, man, I want to play that game. Like, that game looks cool. That game was Warhammer 40,000. So that's what sparked my entire life story. From that point on, because from that point on, I walked over. Hold on, it's
fucking serious?
No, I'm at the mall, and I'm looking over, and there's just some cool shit on the table. And I'm like, what is that? It's Warhammer, right? And I'm like, I need to play that. And I'm like a little kid. I can't afford dick, right? And it's like, I remember, I went over to the wall and these blister packs, these box sets. It was back when it was metal, right? Metal pieces. Christ, date myself on that one.
Metal. There was metal miniatures.
Metal miniatures, yeah.
Miniatures.
They sucked ass. So, anyways, I looked over and I'm like, Christ, like that's $12 for a blister pack, or that's $50 for a box set, or whatever the case may be. Well outside of my financial abilities as a 12-year-old or 13-year-old, however old I was at the time. And I had to try to figure some things out. I was like, all right, well, from this point forward, I got to start thinking about something like a job, or try to figure out how I'm going to get money. Parents bought me like the first starter set, got me like maybe 250 points worth of minis, right? Not enough. Fast forward to like I'm 13, 14, and I'm babysitting my little cousin. At the time, it was great, watching him, and I'm getting my money, and I'm trying to just buy Necrons when Necrons like first came out, like the real release of Necrons. And I'm taking all my money that I'm getting from watching him and trying to circulate that right back into 40K. I don't remember if I actually had any responsibilities at the time, or actually had to pay for anything. I don't think so. But I just take that check and just go right to Necrons. I remember buying Wraiths, I remember buying Destroyers, all those old school models. Back when it was like a human being, like with little claws, like that was the Wraith. It was nuts. So that was my first job. To fast forward to about high school, I did Necrons. I think I did some other little armies in there, and that's how I was paying for that. My parents thought that this hobby was stupid, and like it's never gonna catch on. Probably wondering why I didn't play sports or anything cool or whatever. But like it was like, all right, 40K is my thing. I actually remember going to class, like there was like projects I used to do, and I remember all my art classes, and like I go in the art class, I can't draw, I couldn't paint on a canvas, and then I would just go in and I would show the teacher my miniature and be like, well, I can do this. And they're like, oh my God, it looks so incredible. How do you paint like that? I'm like, well, I mean, now it looks like ass. You know, if I went back and looked at it, it looks awful. So now we go into my first job at Brewster's for ice cream. And I had a pretty big ice cream career.
Big ice cream guy.
Big ice cream guy. Big scooper guy. I mean, they put me on the odd jobs. They make me, I'd have to go onto the ceiling and change filters and shit. For some reason, that job, they thought that like just guys just knew how to like plumb, and
everybody can plumb.
Yeah,
right?
like I was like an engineer. They're like, oh, like you're a guy. Like that's a guy job. That's what you do. And clean dishes. They were like, well, guys clean dishes. I think what was going on is they just didn't want me at the window. You know, I think it was a little rough around the.
Can't have rough Dan ever.
Yeah, it was rough Dan. Can't do that.
Can't
Rough.
have rough Dan.
Rough.
Dan. Rough Dan. Can't have
Plum.
Can't have
Big plum.
big
Window.
Can't have
Window. The point is, I took every one of those paychecks and it just went right back into 40K. And I think it was like maybe like it was like $400, $500 every. I mean, after taxes, it's like $400, $500 every paycheck. That would just go right back into 40K. And then I remember back in high school, like I think like here's an unknown fact. Like my friends would ask me like why are you just like buying a pretzel? Like why are you just like buying a pretzel? That's all I could afford. I don't really remember eating anything else.
Little Dan Mendenhall drove himself to near starvation for Warhammer 40,000. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
A man willing to starve for his craft.
I weighed about like 95 pounds. I was just, whatever. So,
I think a lot of our viewers out there could learn from dedication such as yours.
I would hope so. So, doing a thing, and I'm spending all my checks on that, and I just remember just taking every single paycheck that was coming through and just going to what was at the time the Rogue's Den, which was a failed experiment of these idiots who thought it was like people who were playing the game and they thought, you know what would be cool if we open up our own space. Did they have any background in business? No. Did they have any background in marketing? No. They guess somebody's dad had money or something like that, so they opened up this place. Charged nobody anything to go in there. It was a dance studio, and eventually the place shut down after I think LARPers came in, or D&D or something like that. And yeah, that was it. That was the end of that. They shut that place down. Anyways, they had no business sense. That place just failed. And I think we all started kind of like rotating back into the showcase back at the mall. So. Remember throwing most of my money at that, and then eventually we get into, I'm like 18, 19, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do. And it's like, and you would think, and I used to get asked this all the time, like, why'd you join the military, right? Like, why would you join the military? 9/11 happened, you go over there, you get shot, like whatever the case may be. And I'm like, you know what? It wasn't for the good of the country. It wasn't for, like any sort of patriotic reasons. I had to afford Warhammer.
So you gave up your entire future, joined the military for Warhammer. Is that what you're telling me?
Something like that.
Sacrificed all your chances in life just for Warhammer.
Sacrificed all my chances in life? Yeah. Whatever chances I had, it was gone.
Knew you were going to have no opportunities left if you went down this road.
Yeah.
But you loved your craft so much that you decided to just throw it all away. Banker Dan, that's not going to happen.
I mean, yeah.
Wall Street Dan,
no.
Goodbye.
No. That's just not going to happen. I had like, I probably could have been that,
Yeah.
I was looking at, either like NFL or, Banker Dan. And I just went with Navy Dan.
Do you ever wonder what could have been?
No.
Maybe you should. Anyway, moving on. So, you join the Navy, throw all chances you have at a successful career away, and you decide to keep playing 40K. Tell me, how does one play 40K in the Navy?
All right. So, I get into the Navy, and obviously I'm going to blow my first check on Warhammer stuff. True story, I was actually building a whole Death Watch Terminator list while I was in boot camp. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go and buy a whole army. So that's what I did. I took my first $1,000 check, bought a whole army. But little did I know, there's this thing that the Navy or the military had back in the day called, don't ask, don't tell. There's don't ask, don't tell policy.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it when I went in. So I thought it meant something else, but a part of that don't ask, don't tell is you don't talk about miniatures and you don't talk about 40K. So I had to scrap it. I had to scrap my whole hobby for 4 years, like the ultimate sacrifice. I had to stop playing 40K. And honestly, it was like one of the hardest things I ever had to do. But I got through it. And I thought to myself, like, all right, got to make some steps because I have to get out of the military because like they have this rule that I can't play. And I don't know if that rule will ever be changed, right? Like that, yeah, so it's like, I already knew my future. I already knew where things were gonna go. Like I got like 4 years. I can't play 40K. I don't know when this rule is gonna be lifted. And I can tell other people about, who I am, right? And who I want to be. And maybe there are some other people in the Navy that are the same way and we can get along, whatever the case, And so like, all right, I gotta get out. I gotta start making some moves. So I like to do video. Like, I thought video was pretty cool before, I was doing like shooting some dudes out in the woods. We used to sort of like play in the woods and I shoot the dudes.
I used to think doing video was cool too. Used to.
Yeah, well,
continue.
I don't think you shot enough dudes. Like dudes playing with sticks in the woods.
I shot my fair share of dudes.
Yeah, so we get to, where we at? We're in the Navy, and I'm like, well, I gotta get out. I'm like, after I deployed and I did all that stuff, saved America, I am like, all right, I'm gonna go to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, the dumbest choice in my life, right? Mm-hmm. We all know that was a dumb choice.
Can you give a little backstory on the Art Institute of Philadelphia for those who don't know?
So the Art Institute of Philadelphia is a scam. We all know it's a scam. That's a garlic one.
Take your time.
Yeah, I don't know. There's really not much to be said. I mean, they look at veterans as sort of a cash cow, and then they take advantage of you. They bring you in, they say you're gonna have all this equipment, and then you realize it's all old shit. And then the people that are actually teaching there have never done this thing in real life. They haven't even made it as far as like doing a stupid YouTube channel, right? And so I just sort of stuck it out because it was free for me. I could have went anywhere, but I ended up going to the Art Institute of Philadelphia because it was more convenient. Yeah, I don't know, that place sucked. And, I had to fight tooth and nail to just get through it. And then I did, and then I landed at an internship. So this whole time I'm like, all right, I gotta make sure that I get out of this and I'm not wasting my time because obviously I have to get into a position where I'm making enough money to afford 40K again. Now, I haven't played in a very long time, and I think the Navy kind of spoiled that. So we get to the point in which I had my first internship and I'm making it work and I end up being a full-time employee there. While I'm a full-time employee there, we open up this internship program. And the crazy thing is this dumb fucked head.
Dumb fuck HUD
Comes walking in as an intern. He's like, hey man, you ever heard of 40K? And I'll tell you what, I was triggered. Like, I was straight triggered. I was like, holy shit. There's no way somebody in here knows how to play 40K or even is interested in 40K. But this dumb fuck Ted Siebert comes walking in and he says it. And I was like, all right, man. Like, this is it. Like, I'm getting back into 40K.
Fast.
And I'm like, maybe I can afford it. Maybe I could do it. And, and I started thinking, and the first thing was like, I'm looking at how much I'm making a year because I'm full-time now. I was like cinematographer, editor, and all that stuff. I'm like, well, I need to ask my boss for more money. So I did, and he was like, took a little bit for him to get there, and he finally did. He's like, all right, cool, we'll pay you this much. I'm like, great. That's going right back into 40K because it's time to start a new army. I think it's like 2017, right? And like, here we go. And, then Ted got me into it where we just played each other. And we built our first army back in 7th edition. That's what we did. We just played each other over and over and over again. And
so you and Ted played with yourselves
a lot over my house.
At your house.
At my house. So I got a house in the mix of this too. I bought a house.
You bought a house So you could play Warhammer.
Yeah, I bought a house because I didn't have enough room living with my father in his apartment. So I was like, hey, Dad, like, you know, I mean, also I'm engaged. I forgot it. I forgot to get it. Yeah. In the process, I got engaged.
So that brings me to a good point. How has Warhammer affected your relationships? Has it affected your relationships in any way?
Yeah, so I mean, I needed to find somebody that was really chill about this whole hobby thing, and somebody that wasn't just going to gripe at me. So I found somebody, and the problem was when I bought my house, I did it solely, and the girl that I was with at the time, who was my fiance, you know, we got engaged really fast, whatever, and it wasn't working out. And the reason why it wasn't working out was because I was like, look, like, she's not financially at a point where she can help me with the house. It gives me more money to buy more minis. So I was like, you know, what am I going to do? And it's like, you know, obviously, you know, and I just kept coming to her like, look, you got to be catching up to me. You got to be making enough money so I can go blow, you know, my money on this 40K stuff, because it's expensive at this point. I think, you know, like $800 to $1,000 for an army. So I was like, look, you know, you know, one day I was like, I didn't snap, but I was like, you know, it's like, I got to figure some things out, and like, I got to buy my next army, and it ain't going to work out if you can't help me pay for the home. So I was like, look, you got to go, right? Like, one day I just came back from doing a shoot. I'm like, you got to go. Besides the point, I think we need to roll back a little bit. So my job's working out. The problem was that I don't think I was making enough money per day. I needed to look at it and go, look, I need to make enough per day to buy an army. That was my goal. That was my said goal, was per day shoot, buy an army. I could do it every time. And that was what I was gunning for. So in that process, I ended up going freelance, became a freelance cinematographer. Now, after that is when I broke up with my girlfriend. I told her she's got to kick rocks and get the fuck out of here.
I think you did the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was like, look, like, you know, I'm gonna need to try to find somebody who's making a little bit more money and like try to be a little bit more established. So that way, I have a little bit more, you know, financial flexibility. So then we you know, she's out of the picture. Dad's living upstairs. I brought my dad with me, and that's something that's like, look, man, Dad came with me. I don't live with my dad. And that's the thing, like, a lot of hobbyists, they live with their parents. It's brutal, right? Like, we all know that, you know, the guy down in the basement, his mom's basement, is brutal. No, I actually took, like, my dad with me to my place. I mean, he tries to sign a check for me, and, like, he thinks that that's actually going towards a house. It's not. So it goes right into, like, you know, like a fucking Scutari box.
Okay, so you're defrauding your father.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Also, and here's what's crazy. When I got out of the military, what I didn't understand was, like, you know, I had issues. I had shoulder issues. I had neck issues. You know, loss of hearing and all that stuff.
Oh, you got issues.
Oh, I got issues. And I felt like, well, man, this really fucking blows, right? Well, no, actually, it turns out they'll pay you. Like, they'll pay you when you're broken. So, like, yeah, like, I'm a busted dude. Military did it to me, and, you know, here I am. And then all of a sudden, they're, like, giving me money. I'm like, whoa, like, that's some more flexibility that I can start throwing back into 40K. So it's like disability, cinematography, all going into this hobby. And, like, I finally got to a point where I can afford it.
So, it's safe to say you've modeled your entire life after a game of toy soldiers?
Yeah, dolls. Yeah, I like to call them dolls.
Dolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I'm a freelancer, and I get back into the... So, you know, I got my girlfriend out of the mix. I got to go find somebody else. And so we I had to go back out into dating. And you think, like, you're trying to, like, find love, and you're trying to find somebody that you know, helps you and, you know, whatever. Loves you back, right? But I was like, well, you know, that's cool and all, but, like, I got to find somebody who's also, like, financially, like, set. So that way, like, you know, when we buy a place together, I have a lot of money left over to play 40K. So I did. And you know, during that search, I was like, all right, it's either got to be a doctor or a lawyer. Yeah, so I go out dating, and I think, obviously, yeah, I tried the doctor route, but they were all, like, people who were still in school. I guess, like, you start being a doctor, like, 45. I don't know. It just seemed that way. So I was like, all right, the next thing is gonna be, like, a lawyer, right? So, like, I found it. You know, I found a lawyer. I got lucky, and yeah, and she thinks that this hobby is incredibly stupid, and that's fine. I don't care about that as long as she's making enough money that I can put aside enough to play the hobby. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
Yes. No, that checks out.
All right, so that's the story.
Okay. Well, thanks for spending your time with us today. I know you'd probably rather be collecting models, as you've demonstrated, but I think the world learned a very interesting story today.
Well, I'm not done yet, so.
Done.